Mark Zuckerberg acknowledged to his staff that the company made some pretty serious mistakes during the aggressive AI-driven workforce transformation. But that's what happens when you sometimes put 25-year-olds in front of leadership positions. Welcome back to the Automated TV. I'm your host, Tak Lo, and thanks for joining today's broadcast. Thank you for additional subscribers. We've just been getting subscribers each and every day, so I've been very, very excited and very happy. Let's get to a road to 200. And just as a friendly public service announcement, we are definitely going to close for the next 2 weeks as I move studios. Again, we're bigger, better, happier. So definitely, pause, watch some of the old episodes, click like, subscribe, and that will be great. But then we'll pause this Friday for 2 weeks as we do some refurbishments. Okay, so let's get into the broadcast. All right, first up, we've got more news about Meta, Facebook. So the billionaire CEO Mark Zuckerberg, an elite internal memo acquired by Reuters. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg acknowledged to his staff that the company made some pretty serious mistakes during the aggressive AI-driven workforce transformation. So he fumbled, back in May, Meta brutally laid off 10% of its global workforce, around 8,000 people, and then abruptly reassigned another 7,000 to brand new AI-related roles. Internal reports show the 6,500 person applied AI engineering unit has been nearing an absolute revolt, with some elite engineers bitterly calling their new force assignments a gulag because they were forced into soul-crushing data labeling, puzzle-solving work. I believe this is the actual division headed by Alexander Wang, the 20-year-old AI CEO that was acquired by Mark Zuckerberg. But obviously, his startup was actually focused on data labeling, so therefore it's no surprise. Quote unquote, given the complexity of these changes, we made mistakes and will almost certainly make more, unquote, Zuckerberg wrote in his memo. He added that he's focused on providing as much stability as possible going forward, but I don't want to overpromise because the world is changing in ways that are out of our control. So Meta's new applied AI engineering was reported running structures as wide as 50 individual contributors to a single manager. And the waypoint strategy, Zuckerberg claims that the whole reassignment strategy was actually designed to give the company flexibility. Obviously, that didn't happen. Oh, let me get my ring. Obviously, that didn't quite happen as well. So, to try and rescue company morale before everybody completely quits. So first, for the good news, Zuckerberg promised there'd be no zero additional company-wide layoffs for the rest of 2026. And then he is basically incorporating party budgets to try to make everyone a little bit happier. Massive increasing budget for lavish team offsites and corporate events, organizing a massive company-wide hackathon to force cross-team collaboration. And it's also quietly raised its 2026 capital spending forecast to mind-boggling $125 billion to $145 billion, about $25 billion, so about a quarter more back in April. So basically they're trying to win the AI race as well, which is great. We've got more and more companies who want to join the AI race, but I believe this is the division probably created and headed by Alexander Wang, who again was the CEO of a data labeling company that Mark Zuckerberg acquired. But the issue is that's all he knows. And I think the old AI expert, Yang LeCun, left in protest because essentially his AI efforts were essentially led by a 20-year-old, 23-year-old, let's just say, who just apparently just doesn't know anything, doesn't know about AI, doesn't know about machine learning, probably hasn't really managed people before anyway. And so I think we're starting to see the results of this. So this story we'll probably have to look into a little bit more. I definitely want to see. I think I saw some YouTube stuff about Alexander and issues. Maybe it's just his photo and really reporting the same thing. But that's what happens when you sometimes put 25-year-olds in front of leadership positions. It doesn't really end well. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right. On to the next section. We're going to talk about Anthropic. We're going to say the US government shut down Anthropic's most powerful AI model. So we talked about this, I believe, yesterday on yesterday's broadcast, which was actually the news before. So the U.S. Commerce Department dropped an export control directive late on Friday, June 13, ordering Anthropic to mainly cut off access to its top-tier models, Claude Fable 5 and Claude Mythos 5, for all foreign nationals. Now, whether they're living abroad or sitting right inside the United States on a visa, it's still banned. So it's hard to check everyone's password before they log into Claude. So they abruptly killed global access to both models overnight. And I had friends that basically said they were doing something, right? And suddenly just turned off. So, so what allegedly causes total panic? The Trump administration's official concern was that someone has successfully cracked Fable 5 safety guardrails, opening a black door for users to extract highly restricted information. And so Anthropic reviewed the government's top secret demonstration and immediately pushed back receipts. They're calling this whole thing a misunderstanding. According to Anthropic, the government only provided verbal evidence of a potential narrow, non-universal jailbreak. And also pointed out that these minor flaws were things that they already knew about, and any public model on the market could find them without any special workarounds anyway. So yeah, so it's shut down. Oh, here we go. And White House AI advisor, the old one, David Sachs, took to X to spill the real behind the scenes tea. He revealed that the government actually issued the export control reluctantly. The crackdown only happened after Anthropic CEO Dario, I never got his actually last name right, Amode, person refused to patch the specific vulnerability or take the model down voluntarily. Sachs noted that the administration actually wants Anthropic to just fix the security issues so they can lift their restrictions and bring Fable back to life. So, let's see here. Yeah, so that's what I heard as well. So David Sachs on X had mentioned that yes, they had wanted to open the model, but there was something that they wanted to do, and and Dario just decided to just take it off the market. Look, I'm sure there's a bit of truth on both sides. Look, ultimately, it doesn't look good for Anthropic. It looks good for OpenAI. OpenAI has not been down. But I think, you know what I've seen? I've seen the ramifications actually about sovereignty and AI sovereignty all across the world. So people in Europe, for example, on LinkedIn was remarking, hey, look, we need our own sovereign AI because we can't just have, these models willy-nilly, not be around. We've been in too long. It's not just kind of the peace debt that we've had, if we want to take geopolitical speak. It's actually this free internet, debt that we've been counting on. Facebook never being down, Google not being down. Now it is down. And so I think we're forced to understand that these things can be taken away from us and we need to build our own models. And that's really kind of what the ramifications or these conversations around in Europe have been. So it is what it is. I understand that. And yeah, I love to kind of hear in your comment section below if you're actually from Europe, whether this is actually true, what you guys are actually doing about it. And if you've been impacted by this outage, let us know. I love to hear, but it is what it is. I think all countries need to have their own models and focus on that to build things up, because that is what it needs to be done to protect yourself and protect your own country. Because if it can be taken away like this, there's nothing that anybody can do, really. So you got to build your own models. That's kind of how I feel and what I really advocate and push for. Okay, on to the next section. We've got around the AI block. First off, we have China may have accessed Anthropic's Mythos AI model. I saw that article as well. So basically, they're saying this is a TechBuzz article. So essentially, they're saying that the Mythos, there was a group or somebody that actually went into the model, and this is, and Dario's the one who said, look, anybody could have done it. It isn't just a kind of anybody could have done it. And so the White House suddenly clamped down. According to a new report from Semaphore, concerns that a China-linked group accessed Mythos 5 or Fable 5 drove the administration's emergency export restrictions, raising the stakes of what's become the most serious security incident to date. And that's what pushed the White House to slam export controls. Okay. Say anything else? look, I mean, remember, we actually heard two sides of the story, right? We heard one side of the story was that this was, something that normal people could have accessed anyway, so it's not such a big deal. The White House is saying it's actually a China link group. And again, two truths can be true, or two things can be true at the same time. And look, it could be true. It could be China. And on the other hand, Darrow could also be right. It could have been anybody could have done it, and anyone could have done it. When I read China link group, oftentimes it's in some ways misinformation, because we actually don't know whether it's a government link group, whether it's a private group, and not all things are the same, right? And so it could be literally Chinese people or different competing AI models, right, in companies, and competitors do that all the time. So it could be that. Didn't really say, but it left the interpretation and the narrative to be imagined. On the other hand, Dario's narrative, which is it could be, look, anybody could have done it, is probably true as well. And anybody could have done it. And it just so happens that the White House and this narrative has taken the China link group and said, that's actually the group that did it. And so to blame somebody and point the finger to somebody. So that's really what I think is going on here. As I said in my broadcast yesterday, in my episode, look, sometimes I do think some of these things are much ado about nothing, because it's about narrative and controlling the narrative and who's the enemy. So that's my particular opinion. Okay, OpenAI faces investigation from state attorneys general. Okay, there's a TechCrunch article. The company was served with a subpoena from New York's Attorney General Friday, according to Wall Street Journal. It sought related to a broad range of topics, including the company's advertising, user engagement, and retention model sycophancy. Oh, jeez, I can't speak anymore. Handling of consumer data and health data, and treatment of minors and seniors. And this is New York. Cool. Don't know why they actually kind of did this, right? Yeah, I didn't really say why they did it, and why New York. Could be Mamdani. Look, these things will happen more and more. I think, like I said before in the first kind of point, right? Sovereign AI. People realize how bad they control they need and how powerful it is. So they want control as well on the state level, on a federal level. And that's kind of where we're going at. So sovereign AI is going to be a big thing. You can have lawsuits as well, because people definitely want to control it, or at least be able to deal with it. And to be frank, that's actually not a bad thing. We didn't cover the story before, but for example, the UK is banning social media for people under 16. Finally, governments are taking control of the internet. And maybe, again, that's not such a bad thing. A decade ago, I created the very first AI accelerator fund based right here in Hong Kong. Now, a lot has changed in AI over the years, but one thing hasn't changed: the need for human leaders to learn how to leverage AI. And that's why I'm delighted to start today the AI Leadership Academy, helping executives and organizations learn to strategically leverage AI. Head over to www.ai-leadership-academy.com for more information and to sign up for your spot in the very first cohort. Okay, all right. Next article. Engadget, a report on the benefits of AI was reported full of AI hallucinations. It's published by KPMG and one of the big four accounting firms. In October last year, KPMG published a report titled Total Experience Redefining Excellence in the Age of Agentic AI, which is about how companies are using AI to cater to customers' needs. And oops, it was actually full of AI hallucinations, and include examples of agentic AIs either did not exist or did not have the capabilities KPMG stated in the paper. Jesus. Investors for GPT-0, the maker of AI content detection tool, found inaccuracies and fake footnotes all over the report. Oh my goodness, I do know GPT-0. All right. That is not good. That's not good. You got to trust but verify with AI. We got to trust but verify. Okay, surge in scams as fraudsters. Let's see. BBC articles, surge in scams as fraudsters use AI to target people. Let's see. Financial losses from scams hit 1.3 billion pounds a year as criminals turn to AI. That's rather unfortunate. Using AI to manipulate people and even marrying victims of romance scams to steal more money. More than 4 million cases in which money was lost were reported last year. And essentially, yeah. Let's see, what are they doing? Fraudsters also use fake profiles on social media and dating sites to meet, groom, and ultimately steal from victims. Purchase scams in which criminals use stolen card details to buy something online. Went to new levels. Yeah, okay, that's not good. Yeah, didn't really actually mention deepfakes, but I can imagine, well, sorry, with dating scams, it must be deepfakes, right? So all these images must be from kind of deepfake images. So please be careful out there. The internet is bad, can be bad. With AI, it becomes even worse. So definitely be careful out there. Passwords, just be extremely careful. Okay? Be careful. Okay, Chinese cybercrime operations, they use AI to scam hundreds of thousands of victims sued by Google. All right, TechCrunch article. Let's see, Google is suing to dismantle the infrastructure behind an alleged massive AI-powered cybercrime, alleged Chinese cybercrime, so a lawsuit called Outsider Enterprise. So uses AI in its campaigns to send scam text messages impersonating Google and other variants to steal passwords and credit card numbers. Good for them. Hundreds of thousands, Outsider Enterprises scammed hundreds of thousands of victims with losses estimated in the millions, deploying 9,000 fake websites, 1 million fraudulent web domains, and 2.5 million text. Great. All right. So can they find these guys? So great for them. Yeah, great for them. The less scams, the better in the world. Good. I don't know how they can target this, but hopefully they're working with the authorities to do that. Again, more crimes, more stuff linked to AI. This is not a good thing, but it is what it is. So good on Google to be firm and hard on this and to push them to do something. Okay, as Anthropic suspends access to new models, India debates its AI future. TechCrunch article. Let's see what is going on. Right. Anthropic's sudden move to suspend access to newest AI models following the U.S. government directive has raised fresh questions across the global tech industry. In India, the decision has reignited a long-running debate over whether one of the world's largest AI markets and forced to rely on technology built and controlled elsewhere. See, I told you that. Remember, Europe actually had the same issue. Now India is having the same issue as well. So it completely changes things. Yeah. So I look, I do think it's important. I do think this is people will start thinking about sovereign AI, which I long advocated for anyway. So I get it. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. I think it's with geopolitics as it is, it needs to happen. Yeah, it needs to happen for everybody. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Have the electricity turned off by somebody outside your control? No. Every country needs sovereign control, and definitely this makes sense. Okay, on to the next section. We've got trending tools. We've got how many? We've got 4 today. For the high-skill creatives, we've got PixArt Enterprise. I have used PixArt before. It allows you to bake professional creative tools directly into your own applications. It's API handle background removal, upscaling AI visual generation at scale. For video, okay, so that's pretty cool. For video cleanup, we've got HitPaw. Watermark Remover is an AI-powered browser tool that removes watermarked logos and distracting objects from video. I could definitely use this. Canva sometimes likes to add random things. Bad Canva. It reconstructs frames in real time to maintain 4K clarity. For complex logic, Flow is ByteDance's new open source multi-agent orchestrator. I like ByteDance. Very, very cool. And for customer education, Train AI with 2 N's. AI is a record to academy platform, capture one product demo, and the AI automatically generates interactive guides, video tutorials, and a searchable knowledge base onboard customers at scale. Very cool. So definitely try these tools. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Let us know which ones work, and hopefully other people will be the beneficiaries of your knowledge on what tools actually work. Okay, on to the next section. We've got the workout of the day. The AI guide to raising capital. Actually, we've got a pretty cool GIF here. So I know. These platforms scan massive databases. We're talking 50,000 contacts across VC angels networks. And then basically you send them an email and they pitch. And I'm not a big fan of these things because I generally like working with people that I know. And I don't think mass email works. I don't think that's how mass email works. I mean, yes, ultimately fundraising is a numbers game, but it's also not a numbers game. It shouldn't be a numbers game. It is, you're having a relationship with an investor. I should know. I'm an relational entrepreneurs for 10 plus years now, and it is what it is. And it's just, you've got 10 years with these guys. It is not a numbers game. And if you have the wrong investor, which I've had a wrong investor. Maybe at some point I'll say that on the camera, but I've had a bad investor and it will make your life hell, a loving hell. So it's not a numbers game. It is not something you can clean up easily. It's something you have to have a long-term relationship with, and you want to go into the foxhole with that particular person or group, right? Hopefully it's a particular person, especially on an early stage. Look eye to eye and commit and be there. Those are the best investors, actually. This is actually kind of my take. The best investors, early stage investors, are the ones you look in the eye, that have actually gone through it, that have gone through that blah, blah, and, can sympathize with your journey. Doesn't say much, doesn't react, and is long-term. Those are the investors that you want, honestly. Okay, it's a toolkit to making this magic happen. If you are wanting to think about capital fundraising, doing it at a grand scale, Crunchbase Pro, the GOAT, greatest of all time for super specific filters, used by sales teams, investors, and entrepreneurs. PitchBook, we have used PitchBook before. AI-driven insights into investor behavior. Evalize.ai, create your pitch deck and matches you with investors so you don't walk into a meeting with a mediocre presentation. And OpenVC, a free platform to search 20,000 verified investors. Plus it tracks who opens your deck. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool in and of itself. So I've used certain one of these. Again, I don't like to spam and put everything there, but yeah, I don't like to put everything there and put it out in the open, but it is what it is. You can definitely use some of these and play around with it. You don't have to spam everybody. You can use it for research. Maybe that's the better thing to do. That's what I would do, and that's what I personally do. And that's the way to do it. But again, put in the comment section below whether you use this and whether you prefer to use this particular method. Okay, thank you for listening to our broadcast today. A very healthy 7:30, 7:24 in the morning. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, thanks for subscribing. More subscribers, please, please, please. Let's get those numbers up to 200. And remember, we'll be down for 2 weeks because we're moving offices. We're moving to a studio. I think you would absolutely love it. And I'm sure you will love it. So I definitely want to show you. So pausing this Friday, and we'll have a new format, not just new studio, but new format, new design, new website, new everything. I think it's be absolutely fantastic. So see you in tomorrow's broadcast.